Hi, so today I'm going to be talking about why I think we're being lied to about spiritual awakening. I'm also going to be talking about why I think the current portrayal of spiritual awakening is actually quite damaging, especially for people that are going through a really tough time and in the dark night of the soul. And finally, I hope to leave you with a little bit of advice as well. Firstly, I'm going to start with a dream that I had a couple of years ago because I think it really sums up my own experience of spiritual awakening. So this was in a sort of courtyard garden, and my mentor and another lady who I didn't recognise were there, and they were picking flowers and it looks like herbs, getting ready to initiate me. Now, I didn't know what was entailed in this. I just remember feeling really fearful. And then I got a telepathic message from my mentor, and she said to me, this isn't going to be easy and there's going to be no turning back, but it will help you rise. And then I woke up. Now that, to me, in a very short sentence, really outlines what I've been through and my own experience on the spiritual awakening path, in that it is not all love and light and roses and unicorns. And what I feel I am seeing a lot in social media and even in some people's spiritual awakening stories as well is this kind of gloss, this surface level that's put on the spiritual awakening experience. And one of the reasons I think that I feel like it's almost being sold. It's being sold in a certain way that, it's kind of that person cross-legged, everything's amazing, they're in meditation, they've found peace, and now their life is just all looking perfect from the outside and the inside. And if you're watching this, you may be with me in feeling that that is not representative of the spiritual awakening journey. And I'm also listening to people on things like podcasts being interviewed, and for me there's kind of this big gap in their experience. So they will talk about maybe they worked in corporate for many years, and then all of a sudden they were getting these downloads, they'd become psychic, they were getting guidance, they left the job, they went and set up a spiritual business, they may have found their soulmate and everything's amazing. But for me, I feel like what's the story in between that? How did you get from A to B? What did you have to lose? What growth did you have to go through? What things did you have to learn about yourself? What cycles and patterns were you in? What mentally and emotionally did you have to go through? What people did you lose in your life? Because as we know, as we start to awaken, we start to go through such massive internal changes that now the outside looks very different, and the people that we used to resonate with, now we don't, or they don't resonate with us. And you can suddenly find all your friends are dropping out your life left, right and centre, or a relationship that you're in, suddenly you're just on a completely different path, and you don't feel like you're growing together, like you're growing apart, because now your beliefs are different. Now you see the world. Your eyes have been opened to the world and the systems and how everything works. And it's very true that once you're on this path, there is no turning back. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't stop becoming who you are supposed to be becoming, and with that there's going to be a lot that drops and falls away. So it's just something that personally I've noticed the way it's kind of been sold on social media, everyone with the happy smiley faces, I'm just so happy all the time, and which is great, and if that's your experience then that's fine. But I'm here for the people that have felt like there's something wrong with them, like they're going through a real deep dark night of the soul, they don't know where to turn, and they can't see anything that represents their experience. Now, that is something that I had, and the reason why I'm here talking today. When I was going through my dark night of the soul, and I was starting to look at things like social media, going on podcasts, listening to people, I wasn't able to find very many people that were talking about the deep grief, the deep suffering, the loss in their life as they're going through this transition. You know, they're going through the dark night of the soul. They're everything's starting to be stripped away in layers, your belief systems as well. And you're having to go out there and also start to rebuild your life as this new person. Not many people are actually talking about that. I wasn't seeing this represented in the pictures, all the glossy pictures that we see, say on Instagram or on social media. So that's really why I feel how spiritual awakening is being represented or how it's being sold can be quite damaging for people that are already at their lowest ebb, people that are feeling like they don't belong, they don't fit in, there's something wrong with them, I feel broken, I don't feel like I can ever be normal again. How do I rebuild my life when I'm going through all this suffering, my life's falling apart, I don't know who I am anymore, let alone what other people think of me right now. So there's so much going on, and I think people need support through that. And when you're not seeing that represented, when you're going looking for other people's experiences, I think that's really difficult. So one thing I want to do on this channel is to be really open and honest about the experience, and that means the good, the bad, and everything in between. And it means being really open, vulnerable, honest about what I've been through, so that hopefully I can be that representative for people out there that are going through something similar to what I've experienced or what I'm currently experiencing as well. Because, you know, I still have periods of evolvement, and I'm going through one right now where things are still changing for me, and I'm having to try and make sense of it as well. So that's my reasonings for why I think we're being lied to about spiritual awakening. And I'd really like to see a little bit more transparency in the spiritual space and community about how difficult it can be sometimes. And that's not to say there's no upsides to this, by the way. There are plenty of upsides to a spiritual awakening. There are those magical moments, but I feel like sometimes they just get left out the story, and we're not seeing the real picture, and how much work and how much can feel like challenges we have to go through on this path as well. It does feel very much like an initiation challenge. That's how I would describe it, really, especially in the dark night of the soul. So I did think about whether I should do this video, because I know not everybody is going to agree with me, but I really want to show up and be there for people that are struggling on the spiritual journey, awakening, and aren't seeing that reflected in maybe places that they're searching, or social media, or online as well. And a piece of advice for you if you're going through that, because I was in my dark night for a very long period of time, and it took me a long time to start to go out there and start to seek other people's stories. And I had to do a lot of searching because, as I said, there wasn't much out there that was representing where I was at. But one of my pieces of advice was go and seek people. It doesn't have to be a spiritual awakening experience. Go out and seek inspirational stories of people who have been through struggle. So that could look like anything from, it might have been they've come from, the rags to riches story. Something where they've been through an enormous amount of struggle, it's been difficult, and they've got to the other end. And they've come out of something and they've achieved something amazing. How have they improved their life? It doesn't have to just be a spiritual awakening story. So kind of shift your attention to people that have transformed their life to give you some inspiration and hope of what is going to transform in your life. Because when you're in a really dark place, a dark night of the soul, you feel like you can't come out of it. But it's to really help build up that trust that you are going to come out of it and your life is going to improve. And I want to show up here to be able to tell people that as well in my story. So please go and look at my Dark Night of the Soul story as well. And that might just help you feel like you're not alone in all of this. So some of the people that I've found their stories really inspiring, just to give you a starting point, could be Neil Donald Walsh. So he was homeless and he went through really tough times in his life. And if you read the Conversations with God, and please don't let the title put you off, because I know for some people it might. But he was going through a really tough time in his life. He's been through loads of challenges. He slept on the street. And you can go and read his story, his dialogues, his Conversations with God. Book 1 is a really good book to go off and read. And Michael Singer as well, The Surrender Experiment. I think I've mentioned this before. He was going through his spiritual awakening, and you'll find that he went through a really difficult legal battle amongst all of that awakening. So please go off and research this so you feel less alone on your journey, and let's try and normalise a little bit of what it's really like to go through a spiritual awakening. And finally, I just want you to encourage you really to share your own experiences and stories. And the more people that show up and talk about what they've been through, how they got through maybe that period where they were feeling lost and didn't know who they were, how did you get through it? What got you through it? Please share any experiences. I love to read the comments as well. Let's all help each other on this path. And it's very much like mental health in terms of there's a conversation around it now. People are starting to be more open about it. And I feel that's very much needed in the spiritual community as well. Let's be open and honest together about what you've been through. And let's talk about what's helped you get through it too. So I'm going to leave it there for today, and please let me know what you think. If it has resonated with you, then let me know as well. I'm going to go off now and have a good day. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.